Hey folks, welcome to Safe Schools. I'm Curtis Graves.
And I'm Andy Howard.
Andy,
Hey,
how's
Kurt.
it going, man?
Okay, man.
Good.
Listen, today, Kurt, we're going to have a couple of great guests. We're going to have Chief Mike Rowland with the City of Pritchard. He's the Chief of Police there. And we're going to have Miss Melanie Baldwin. And among other titles, she's the Public Information Officer. She's going to share with us some of those other titles that
give
she
us some
wears.
information, right?
And today they're going to talk about some things going on in Pritchard, and I'm excited.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in a moment.
Diesel is a very big industry, and I went into it in a 2-year program at the Bryant Career Tech with Tony Tillman.
When Jacob graduated from the Bryant Career Center, he had earned his diesel credential.
The Career Technical Center taught me a lot, all the way from not knowing anything about a motor or engine to knowing pretty much every single moving part of them.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
The quality of education that I received from the Mobile County Public School System really prepared me for global success. Being an international opera singer, I get to travel all across the world. And one of the most important aspects about that is being able to communicate and work with people. And the Mobile County Public School System really equipped me to be greatly successful worldwide.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Hey, and we're back. First guest I want to talk to today is Chief Rowland. Chief Rowland, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Hey, no complaints. Wouldn't do any good to have any, right?
Doesn't do any good for me to complain. I can tell you that right now.
Me either. We want to talk about you in the city of Pritchard, but I first want to talk about you and talk about what brought you to Pritchard. I know you're a native of Pritchard, and I know that you are also a graduate of Viger High School, but you have so many more accomplishments that I want the viewers to hear about.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I am a native of Pritchard, you might say. Graduated from Viger High School back in the day, and you know, my career after high school, I wanted to be in law enforcement, so I went to work for the Mobile Police Department, and I stayed there for about 30 years and retired as a captain with the Mobile Police Department. Had a great career there, I felt like, and had you know, the opportunity to do a lot of things that I felt were allowing me to contribute more to the community. So after I retired, I went to work for about 2 years with the Alabama Peace Officers Commission as a deputy director of one of the police academies statewide. And after leaving that job, went to work as the police chief in Bay Minette.
Well, you've been busy, and you've had a lot going on. And I remember you on the police department with Mobile. I was actually under you at that time in juvenile youth services. Learned a lot from you. Melanie.
Yes.
I can call you Melanie, right?
You can. You can.
Oh, good, good.
That's good. That's good. You can call me Melanie.
Tell me about yourself.
I am a native of Pennsylvania, and I got to Pritchard by getting married. My actual married last name is Baldwin Howell.
Okay.
So I got married to Mobilian. My mother is from Cottage Hill, which is amazing because she gets to come back and hang out in her old spots when she comes to visit me. But I went to Cheyney University, which was founded in 1837. It's the oldest historically black college and university.
Wow.
I then went to University of Pittsburgh for my master's degree.
Okay.
And if I ever finish my dissertation, I will be a doctor
Cool.
and doctorate of leadership and higher education.
Well, tell us about what you're doing for the city of Pritchard right now.
I am the development manager, which means I write all the grants for the city,
Okay.
which is wonderful. So far, we have gotten over $400,000 worth of grants, which is great. I started in January, so I have high expectations for the rest of the year. I'm the governmental affairs person, which means that I work with the mayor and some of his government policies and things of that nature. I'm the public information officer and media relations person. I'm the public relations officer for the city, and I'm the PIO for the police
So
department.
that's how you and the chief tie in.
Yes, the chief and I tie in that way. And I'm doing some criminal statistic work for him also.
Yeah, off camera, we were kind of joking around a little bit. You guys are funny.
Don't tell anybody that.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we are certainly glad to have you, Melanie,
you for having me.
and Chief Rowland.
Thanks,
We appreciate you all giving us a little time of your schedules, because I know from what you shared and from what I know of what you do, you're busy folks. And so we're fortunate to be able to have you all come out and visit with us. Let's talk a little bit about the department, Chief. What kind of things you got going on there?
Well, you asked the right question, because I love to talk about the department. I love to talk about the things that we have going. You know, we are kind of in a period of change right now. We're targeting new programs for the police department. We're trying to get more into the community and get the community to know who we are, and to look at us in a way as the community wants us to be as a police department. You know, we've got some issues that we face, and I think the public pretty well knows what most of those are. But you know, there's an old saying that says you do the best you can with what you got.
Yes, sir.
And one of those things means that we've got a lot of experience within the police department with the officers that have been working there for a long time. We've got resources outside the police department, like for instance you guys working with the school board.
Yes, sir.
And all types of community resources. So we're trying to pool those together, come up with some community-based programs that we can do that we think will have a positive impact on the crime in Pritchard, and also will positively impact the quality of life within Pritchard.
Well, I was gleaning, you know, you and I have talked in the past, and some of the things I gather from your conversations were that you were trying to be more proactive versus being reactive, trying to do some things that will affect the community in a positive way and kind of change the dynamics, and have that expectation of, you know, positive outcome, positive performance, you know, things that make the community a better place to live.
That's right, and you know, I think the thing that in today's world, everybody's heard some of the buzzwords in law enforcement. One called community-oriented policing.
What does that mean?
Well, traditional policing means that you get in a police car and you ride around, you wait on a call to come out, wait for a crime to happen. It's called reactive style of policing.
Yes, sir.
We're more proactive.
Okay.
What we're trying to do in community-oriented policing is address the issues that the community sees as being problems out in their particular neighborhood or wherever they particularly live. And the way that we're doing that is partnering with agencies and with other organizations within the city, and also countywide, I might add, in order to address those issues and try to affect the problems that allow crime to occur before they occur.
Question for you, Chief. Juvenile violence, let's talk about that for a second. How big of a problem is it for your department right now?
Well, you know, it's a big problem for any department, but you know, in the city of Pritchard, we're probably average, as you would find statewide or maybe even nationally, that about 40% of our crime is juvenile related.
Right.
And so, you know, that's a big chunk of our crime. So we've got to address those issues in order to make a positive impact to reduce crime. And if we don't address juvenile issues, then we're not going to be able to positively affect the crime rate.
I agree.
Okay, well, thank you, Chief, for this. For a second, we're going to take a brief break and we'll be right back.
Nonviolence will start with me.
Nonviolence will start with me.
All across the Mobile County public school system, students are taking the pledge.
I pledge to accept the responsibility of my actions.
To solve problems peacefully.
Respect myself and others.
The 100 Days of Nonviolence Pledge. It's an initiative to help explore alternative means of stopping violence among school students. Will you take the challenge? Get involved. Take a stand. 100 Days, 100 Ways.
Smartboard, that's right.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to energy-saving bulbs. Saving energy saves you money. When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
And we're back. Thanks, Chief. You know, we were talking before about some of the things that are going on in our community, and in terms of the juvenile issues and concerns, about some subsections of that topic, the issues related to, I'm gonna name 3 things, okay? Drugs, weapons, and then social media. You know.
Okay.
You got some thoughts on some of that, and as it relates to our younger population?
Oh yeah, you know, social media probably is really one of the biggest of those 3 right now, because social media drives the youth today. I mean, they're skilled in social media of all types, and what we're finding is anything that occurs within the city of Pritchard, if we don't already know about it, we can just go on Facebook, or we can go on one of the other medias and find out what's going on and what people think about that. So it's very important to us to kind of monitor that and to be able to see what's going on in social media. You know, and social media also is kind of driving things like the drug trade.
Okay.
You know, a lot of drug dealers today they don't stand on the corner as much anymore. They do a lot of their business on social media.
Right.
And talking about guns, those sorts of things, those kind of issues. You know, gun crimes are very, they're very important to us to be able to identify those and to be able to get guns off the street and to do the things that we can in order to help reduce the level of violence within the city. But out of all 3 of those, I think probably the most up and coming issue is the social media thing, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Because of that drive that young people have and the availability of electronic communications today.
I do have a question for Melanie also here as it relates to what do you want parents to know in terms of what to do as it relates to their youth and what they do in places that are public arenas?
Well, I think one of the things that we are concerned about is unsupervised children.
Right.
I remember growing up, and I'm a little older, that my
Not
mother
that
and father,
old.
not that old, but you know, my mother and father always knew where we were. And they really didn't have the concern of us doing anything that was erratic. I think the highest thing they had was a phone bill, because we used to talk on the phone a lot, my sister and I. But I think one of the things we want the parents to know is to be a parent.
Right.
And I get to sit in dispatch at times, and I get to hear some of the calls that come in. And we have a lot of parents who want us to come get their kids. And it's interesting because there was no way that Etta Ruth Garman was going to have anybody else take care of her child but Melanie, but Etta. And I think that we need to go back to teach them life skills and their cognitive behavior. Social media, we have a web page and we have a Twitter account at Pritchard Pride. One of the things we want to do is use the social media for a good tool, a useful tool. And I think that parents should monitor what their children read and what they have on their devices. I know that some agencies and some devices have parental monitoring, and I think one thing parents think is that they're invading their privacy.
Right.
Technically, you have no privacy until you get a job and start working on your own.
I agree with that philosophy.
And so until you have that, I think that parents sometimes give up their parental authority.
Yeah.
And one of the things we want to do is empower parents to be the parents they know they can be. And sometimes it takes parenting classes, or it takes, you know, guidance counselors and resource officers. This is what your child needs to be doing.
And you guys are also trying to direct people to these different services and resources that are available, because they are available.
They are. And I think one of the things that's hard is to accept that you need help, but everybody needs a little bit of help. Trust me, and in this day and age and time, you may not know how to get on Facebook. My mother just learned how to text, which is interesting because when she texts, she never finishes a sentence, and she tries to. I'm like, okay, she's texting.
But she thought about it.
But she thought about it. So therefore, we're good. I think that they need to understand how to relate to their children.
I understand. We were talking off screen a little bit, Melanie, about some upcoming events.
Yes.
And one of them that seemed exciting is the one that you're looking at for a symposium.
Yes, we're going to be doing a domestic violence symposium in October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We want to get all the resources and people together in one place so we can make those resources available to our communities, to highlight some of the nonprofit agencies that do that sort of work, because it's not just the police department. We have resource agents. And the thing is with the schools, it is probably most concerning that a student may come to your office and say, well, my mother got beat up and I don't know how to handle it, or they're made homeless because somebody kicked somebody out the house. And so that's how it relates to the children. So domestic violence is very important for mothers, fathers, grandmothers, for the entire community.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that affects everything in that child's performance at school. I mean, if a kid's unhappy, it's going to affect how they perform, how they behave, how they succeed. And so if, you know, we can partner in those kinds of arenas, if we can do things together to help a kid have a chance, that's really good stuff.
Let's add to that. Let's add the attachment of the curfew, teen curfew. You guys just enacted your teen curfew. Now, I'm familiar with teen curfews. I helped Mobile write theirs, the most recent one that they have. And you're very familiar with them because you've also been involved in that arena as well. Tell us about you all's curfew, and what are the hours and the days of the curfew?
Yeah, you know, the curfew kind of mirrors other types of curfews across the country, and you know, it's really targeting teens and young people that are on the street at times when they really have no other business being on the street. You know, it's not designed to try to impede people from being out and having the freedom to move around. But let's face it, somebody who's in high school or in middle school, generally after 10 o'clock at night, especially in the city of Pritchard, really has nothing else productive to be doing out at that particular time of night. So the curfew is designed to allow us to have a basis for stopping these people, getting them back to home or wherever they need to be to get some supervision. The number one reason that youth get involved in crime is because of a lack of supervision.
That's correct.
And so being sure that these kids are supervised and that they have a responsible adult there to take care of them is really important to us. You know, essentially our curfew kicks in at 10 o'clock at night, and it goes until roughly daylight, so about 6 o'clock in the morning, most nights. On the weekends, it's a little bit different. It starts a little bit later. I think it starts around 11 o'clock and then, or midnight, midnight, and goes till 6 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, it's designed to give them a little bit more freedom on the weekends when they, you know, would be a good time to have that. But basically what it allows us to do is monitor kids that are out on the street who are otherwise unsupervised. Now, let me say one thing about that curfew. It was run last year, and we only had one violation. That's tremendous. This year so far, we're about 3 weeks into it, and we haven't had any violations yet. So we look to, you know, to possibly have another great year with that, and we think it's a great message back that the community is sending when they are abiding by these kinds of things.
Chief, we're going to take a brief break right now, and we'll be right back in just a few moments.
Sure.
Smartboard, that's right.
So, Nicholas, how was your day at school today?
It was great. We had fun in class today.
So what did you do differently today at school? I mean, any new projects?
We got a progress report today.
You got your progress reports today? So how did you do?
Don't know.
You don't know. That's okay. We can check that right here. Wow. Nicholas.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws. Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
The quality of education that I received from the Mobile County Public School System really prepared me for global success. Being an international opera singer, I get to travel all across the world. And one of the most important aspects about that is being able to communicate and work with people. And the Mobile County Public School System really equipped me to be greatly successful worldwide.
Melanie.
Yes.
You talked about your program that's coming up, the Domestic Violence Symposium.
Yes.
Give me some time parameters around that. When is it exactly?
We're probably going to do it after we get approval from the mayor, probably October 15th.
Somewhere around the 15th?
Yes.
And where would it be held?
City Hall,
And
216 East Pritchard Avenue.
216 East Pritchard Avenue. And who's invited?
Everyone is invited. We want to make sure that we get the resources out. We started the Domestic Violence Initiative during the National Night Out.
Okay.
We started and we had maybe 6 or 7 vendors there at that time. And we want to enhance those because it's important that everyone knows that they have somewhere to go. One of the things that we're concerned about is making sure that everyone has the information. Sometimes information doesn't funnel through. And we want to make sure that the students know, teachers know, everyone knows that these resources are available. So hopefully we're making a nice brochure that people can take it with them and they can do what they need to do.
So part of this is to educate people about avoiding putting themselves in domestic violence scenarios.
Yes, avoiding that, but also if you are a victim of it. One of the wonderful initiatives that the chief is doing is that we are doing some warrants, domestic violence warrants. We have some that are standing out and things of that nature. One of the things that you want to do is get the perpetrators some help.
Yeah.
You want to get them help. It's
change
not
the dynamic.
Change the dynamic. And it might be fatherhood training, motherhood training, because women are perpetrators of domestic violence also. And I think for men it's sometimes harder to say I'm a victim of domestic violence just because of it just being who they are.
And as a child, growing up in that kind of environment, what becomes normal?
Right.
And that becomes a repetition of failure.
You have fatherless sons and motherless daughters. And so they don't understand healthy relationships or they don't understand a healthy respect of authority because they're expecting you to be like the person they saw. So therefore, being a principal, being a resource officer, they see you as authority and it's harder to go to you than it is to a friend because they're afraid of what they saw in their home. So we want to make sure that they understand how to avoid it, where to go if they're a part of it, as well as resources through the school system that children can go to, their guidance counselor, their teacher, or their resource officer to make sure that if they're having this happen, what can I do?
These kind of collaborations, they're going to result ideally with them young folks
Yes.
and adults,
And adults.
recognizing that, you know, when you got something going on, there are people out who can help.
Yes, definitely.
Chief, question for you here. Adopt a Block program. What exactly is that?
Well, you know
what? Your website.
Yeah, what it is kind of is it's a program where citizens can, it's kind of similar to the Adopt a Highway program,
All right.
in which citizens take interest and pride in their block or their neighborhood, and they clean that up and they do the things that they can do to beautify that. And to kind of make it an example for other neighborhoods. It's a very successful program, I think, within the city of Pritchard, and we've got a number of neighborhood groups that are all involved in Adopt a Block. Yeah.
I know you guys right now as well. You're building a substation real soon.
Very soon.
Mm-hmm.
In the 8 Mile area.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping to partner with the school system and possibly be out close to Blount High School somewhere out that way.
Well, we invite that. We are encouraged by it, and we really appreciate everything that you guys are doing.
How do you initiate an Adopt a Block event?
We have a community development office. If you call 452-7800 and just get the community development department, they will assist you in signing up.
Well, that's good.
Let's talk about hot spots. I want to talk about that a little bit. You know, I'm just police oriented, so, so I got to get back on something else here. Let's talk about hot spot policing, Chief. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm going to tie that into Adopt a Block.
Okay, good. Let's do that.
All right. And the way I'm going to do it is this. You know, hot spot policing is a concept in which what the police department does is identify what they believe to be the hot spots for crime. And in Pritchard, what it seems to be mostly in the past has been what we would call open air drug markets, where people sitting out on the or standing out on the street corner and they're flagging cars down when they come by and they're selling drugs in that way. So what we did was we created a unit called Street Crimes Unit that addresses this, and they go from block to block and corner to corner, and they try to disrupt that type of activity. And that hotspot policing is very, very successful, but it's kind of a Band-Aid approach, you might say, to the crime issue, because after you arrest these people, they come right back as soon as they get out of jail. And sometimes they have to get out and deal drugs so they can pay for the attorney and everything else. What we've done is we've taken more comprehensive approach now, and what we're calling our crime interdiction initiative. And what that is, we're taking hotspot policing to the next level. And the next level is to not only address the policing issues at those locations, but then to start to attack the suppliers of drugs for these people that are hanging out. And that's what we're doing now, which I think is very exciting, is starting to identify the sources of drugs and to going after those sources and closing up those locations that might be
And I think
sources.
one of the things too that I want to make sure that the viewers know is that policing is not about being a cowboy out there just trying to round up as many people as you can, regardless of what they've done, minor or huge. It's about effectively being out and being a presence and helping the community. Real quick, before we run out of time, I want to spotlight your guiding principles, because again, you expect a lot of your officers, and I know you talk about commitment to excellence, you talk about measure the importance of things, which is vital. Build a culture around service, create and develop great leaders, focus on employees, build individual accountability, align behaviors with goals and values, communicate at all levels, recognize and reward success, and align the Pritchard Police Department principles with the vision of the mayor and city leaders. That says a lot, but it says all the things that are needed to say. And what's your take on that?
Well, you know, I think without a set of core values and principles, that no organization can be effective. And in order for us to be effective, we must be professional.
Right.
And so setting out these principles was not an easy thing to do. It came as a collection of information that we got from a number of different sources. But we want to follow those principles because we have to set the tone and the example for the community, and that's what we intend to do.
Good.
We are greatly appreciative, Chief Rowland and Melanie, Ms. Baldwin, for coming and sharing some time with us. This was another opportunity for the community to see what's going on, and we appreciate you being here with us tonight, this afternoon, I say. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Andrew Howard and Curtis Graves. Safe Schools.